Alrighty then, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, folks. Name's Jay Kelta. Welcome back. And, oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Today we're, of course, gonna be talking about the 1970 Dario Argento classic, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. By the way, just quick shout out to Arrow Video. You guys over there outdid yourselves on this one. This is beautiful. This is pure artistry. Loving this. Loving the cover, loving the memorabilia, loving what's in the package, loving the let's just say this made my day when it came in the mail. But of course, this is the tale of an American author, played by Tony Mussanti, who gets caught up in a web of seemingly unrelated murders and an attempted murder he happened to bear witness to. And there in lies the basis of the plot. Mussanti is basically getting caught up in these, killings that had previously happened, this attempted killing he had seen, and he's just trying to piece it all together. And the closer and closer he gets to the truth, the more the killer seems to set their sights on Mussanti. Now, this is going to be a very interesting film to talk about, and I just want to talk about this in the most clean, quick, and concise way I can. This is a classic. This, I dare say, is a masterpiece. It isn't for everyone. And I say that because I'm going to basically try to properly bullet list all my thoughts on this, all the pros and all the cons. Pros first, for there are many. First thing is the scenario. The idea, which is based off of the novel The Screaming Mimi, it's a very, very interesting take on that source material if you go and you read that synopsis. It is a very interesting take, and also technically makes this creamy of sorts. A creamy being a brand of German thriller that came out back in the 1960s. Predominantly directed by one director, based off the source material of one author, Edgar Wallace, best known as the creator of King Kong, the character. And as of late, really only released by one distributor, Retro Media Entertainment, if I'm correct, is the label. However, this is a giallo through and through. And so conceptually, there are like the black gloves, recalling, warping of memory distortion. A lot of those themes you'd see in a lot of, giallos that came out around the time in, 1971, 1972. They are here, and they are done fairly well. Now, of course, there is the issue of the fact that, the screenplays for gialli are not always the most solid, and therefore, when you're talking about it just conceptually, does everything gel? Does development flow, almost seamlessly? No, it's not necessarily a screenplay that, is predicated on a traditional, narrative flow. Nor is it, it's a very new wave-ish kind of feel to it. But the difference is, instead of, playing around with time, it's just, it's almost like it's taboo. It's almost like the film is being shown to you in tableau. Tableau, in which is short, basically a string together of seemingly isolated scenes. But it works wonders, in my opinion, just in the sense that it has this complete dreamlike quality to it. It's not as extreme as some of Argento's later films, like, Deep Red, Suspiria. It's not like that sort of dreamlike atmosphere in which it's a nightmare push you its absolute extremes. It's just a nightmare. It's not necessarily anything too avant-garde or too expressionistic. It's just something that's very eerie and has a haunting feel to it. The haunting feel definitely aided through Vittorio Storaro's effective cinematography, which gets across everything Argento wants, everything that he has in his screenplay that he wants to, get onto the screen. I feel Storaro articulates perfectly. nails it, nails it. Just absolutely fantastic. Were just beautiful shots. Just, that's the thing. The execution, as visually, is just spectacular. The score provided by Ennio Morricone is a very spectacular score, just in the sense that it has this very haunting quality to it. Yet at the same time, it also has this very, very edgy kind of sound, and a lot of that is because a lot of the cues were actually improvised on the sound, in the studio. Basically, Morricone and the orchestra would just kind of play, just be inspired by what the film was providing them. And that was a very interesting approach, and it does work wonders, for you are literally scoring to the picture in real time what comes to mind when you see those images. I feel it's a very, very interesting and a very, very effective approach. The acting also does get everything across. All the right emotions, all characters' moodiness. Musanti does a very good job as the protagonist. He's not as, seemingly unlikable as David Hemmings is in, Deep Red. But from what I heard, he did not get quite a, his working relationship with Argento wasn't quite, the greatest. They didn't get along so well. But Musanti does do a very fantastic job. He's really into it. He feels invested, and that's what I think is the most important bit. And that really does work completely in his favor. And so, sorry, a little tired here, guys. The rest of the cast, no one really stood out to me, and I really only am mentioning Musanti just because he's the main, he's the main character, so to speak. Everyone else does a very good job. There is one person that I do want to mention, though, and that is Mario Adorf as a hermit, a artist that happens to be a hermit, who happens to be a big cat guy. Mario Adorf was freaking awesome in this film. I always have fun with Mario Adorf as an actor, especially just because of all the random places I'll find him. Like, one moment, I'll find him in, Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Next moment, I'll find him in, Rainer Werner Fassbinder's, Lola. And then the next, I'll see him in freaking Felidae. God, I love Mario Adorf. He's the bomb, as far as the German actors are concerned. He is just, oh my god, he's awesome. And here, of course, in his little bit part, it's no exception. He steals the screen. He takes the screen out of, Musanti's hands, he just yanks it out, and it's just it's mine, I'm commanding this all. Adorf was just awesome in his little role as the artist. That's the only other thing I can really mention. Everyone else does a pretty good job. I mean, Susie Kendall as the girlfriend is very effective in her role. Man, she can scream her head off, especially for that one sequence in their apartment. But I will say this, though, just to get on with the cons, because basically to move on to the cons, and there are a few, and there are really only a few I have. One, I think I mentioned earlier, which is the fact that the screenplay, it's a very lucid kind of screenplay. It has a very dreamlike atmosphere to it. So it doesn't look, if you're looking for quality writing, look at something like Chinatown for your pinnacle of screenwriting. Because this is more or less a screenplay designed to service visuals. And it does so, it gets everything across perfectly fine. It doesn't, flow so well, doesn't develop so well, but then again, that's not its purpose. The purpose of a giallo, in my eyes, is to visually entertain, not necessarily narratively entertain. There can be narrative twists and turns and whatnot, but predominantly it's the visuals that take center stage, and therefore it's the visuals that get the most attention to them. And I think the screenplay does an admirable job in just creating the framework for these visuals to exist. And just a little note on the score, it's the same issue I had back with Lalo Schifrin and Dirty Harry. Sometimes this score will get absolutely dense with its dissonant structures. I mean, that's just par for the course with improv. If the clarinet starts screaming out a high note, you're just gonna have to put up with that. If all of a sudden your muted trumpet starts going all sorts of out of whack, you're just gonna have to put up with that, so long as it fits what's on screen. So let's just say this won't be the kind of soundtrack you could passively listen to. The main theme, definitely. It's beautiful. The wordless vocals are just absolutely haunting. The guitar work is very soothing, very ethereal. But the rest of that score might be a chore for some people because it does get loud and it does get cranky and it does get dissonant. Okay, then. Whoa, that's a yawn. To get everything in closing, this is a beautiful film. It might not have the best screenplay, the score might sometimes not be the most pleasant to your ears, but it all culminates into a visual masterpiece. The acting serves the film well, the screenwriting provides the framework for the film's visuals, but the key is, the film looks beautiful, its atmosphere is absolutely intoxicatingly dreamlike. It is just... The thing about Bird with the Crystal Plumage, I can't do it justice by keep telling you this. You know, I just can't give you the synopsis and just rattle off all these things. This is something that has to be seen. If you can get yourselves a copy of this, if I'm correct, there are quite a few releases of this, you know, kind of lurking around the internet. If you can find one, do buy it. It's definitely worth it. And I'd imagine Arrow will be doing like a standard issue release of Bird, so also look out for that. It will definitely be worth the price. It is just... I highly recommend this film. I just cannot do it justice by telling you score's great, visuals are great, the ideas behind it are brilliant, the direction from Argento is just sublime. None of this can properly do this justice. It's a film you truly have to see, to believe, and to enjoy. Now, with that said, what's up next? Well, I don't know. I recently got a double feature of creamies from Retro Media Entertainment. I have just recently picked up Blue Velvet, a... God bless Mill Creek Entertainment, by the way, for doing these kinds of, these bargain packs. Yeah, I got their Hitchcock one, which of all things features 2 episodes from Alfred Hitchcock Presents. And also, most recently, I've picked up John Carpenter's The Thing. So, I probably have a lot of material to go through, but right now, I'm just gonna leave it up in the air. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Please share this around with all your friends and anyone you might think actually gives a crap. And just in general, thank you all so much for the support. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.